is look to see what she owes and look to see what she has. So the assets are anything that she has. So if the house is paid off, does that mean that she still owes on that, or that's the value of the house? That's the value of the house. So we're going to go ahead and write $32,695. Okay, so that's an asset. Car paid off. Again, is that how much she owes or how much it's worth? So we're going to put $7,000 in the assets. Okay, cash. So cash, it's assets. So it's $728.65. And remember, there's your decimals on the other ones. Savings. Well, savings is also money she has. So that's an asset. And then jewelry owned. So does that mean that she doesn't owe anything? So there's no liabilities? Are there liabilities? Do you know what liabilities is? No, liabilities are things that she owes. So if the house was not paid off and she owed that, then it would be under liability. If the car was not paid off, then it would be under liability. So basically, things that she owns are assets. Things that she owes are liabilities. So all we have to do is add that up. So go ahead and add it up. So I know it's going to be 65 cents. And then we add the rest. So that's 18, 12, 13, 7, 14, 18, and 9. That's 27. So 7, 10, 14, and 4. So she is worth... Her net worth is $44,738.65. Would somebody please check my math, because I wasn't sure if I did it correctly. Okay, so basically net worth is just the value of everything she owns in this case. So any questions on this? Okay, make sure you turn in your warm-up. Yesterday, you were supposed to do this as an exit ticket, and a lot of you kind of understood part of it, but not the whole thing. So, I'm going to go ahead and go over it. If you look at this shape, remember, all this, so you have this part. Let me change colors. So this means that that's 6, right? So if all the other sides have that mark, that means that all of them are 6 also. Okay, so what I need you to do is look at that. So say, for instance, I am going to find the area of the quarter circle. A lot of you did that. It was in your notes from the previous day. So a lot of you forgot to divide by 4. Okay, so you guys got that. Then you did the one with the square. A lot of you got the square correctly. You just did 6 times 6, and that gives you 36. So you were able to do both of them. The one that you had trouble with was the triangle. Now, the reason you all had trouble is because you didn't find this amount. You knew that this was 6. But you assumed this was 6. So some of you multiplied 6 times 6 and divided by 2. Some of you just multiplied 6 times 6. Some of you did 8 times 6, because that's what was the one from the previous one. So what I'm going to show you is I'm going to go ahead and make sure you understand it. So if your shape... Okay, so if you look at the shape... Guys, if you actually look at it, and this is the same shape that you had yesterday, basically, if you actually take this off, then is this bottom part still 18? No. No. It's what now? Because I took how many off? 4, right? So if I took away 4, so then this is no longer this is no longer 18. This part is no longer 18. Okay? So if I take off the square, is it now still 14? No, now it's going to be what? 8. Because you needed to subtract 4. You needed to subtract 4. You needed to subtract 6. And then this part will be 8. Okay? So this part will be 8. So that's the reason some of you got it wrong, because you're not doing that. So just think about when you're working with composite figures and you have the measurement all on the bottom. Remember, you are doing different shapes, so that means you're taking those off. You're cutting those off. So make sure that you remember that, because we're going to continue working with composite figures. Any questions before we go on? Did everybody hear that? No. Okay, so when you're doing triangles, when you're doing the area of the triangle, you do base times height. So base times height divided by 2. It's always base times height divided by 2. So what we're doing today, we're doing area of the shaded region today. And basically, look at the shape right now. So all we're doing is still finding the area of both figures. Now this one's already marked. You have what 2 figures? A circle and a triangle. Okay, so what you would do is find the area of the triangle first. Okay, so it'd be find the area of the whole figure. So basically, let me whole shape. Let me erase that. It's not triangle. So you have to find the area of the whole shape. Then you find the area of the inside shape figure. Okay, so let's do this again.
Oh, what?
It's okay. So it says find the area of both shapes. Both. Okay. Yes. So find the area of both shapes. Step 2 is subtract the area of the inside figure and the outside figure. So it could also be the unshaded figure and the shaded figure. Okay. So it could be either one. Okay, so let's go ahead and find the area of the triangle. So let's do that first. So the area of the triangle, what you do is area equals half of base times height. Now in this case, you don't have missing information. So you just do the base is what?
10.
10. The height is?
7.
Okay. So now I could do half of 10, which is 5. 5 times 7 will give us 35. Okay, so that's the whole figure. That's the everything. So now we're going to go ahead and find the area of the circle. So area is equal to pi radius squared. So area is equal to pi. Radius squared would be what? 3 squared. So that means 3 times 3, which is 9 pi. And 9 times 3.14. So that's 6, 9, 10, 11, 12, 1, 27, 28. So it's going to be 28 and 2600. Okay, so now that we have the area of both shapes, what we're going to do, we're going to subtract them. So let's do the shaded region, which is 35. It's the whole thing. And then you're subtracting it with 28 and 2600. Remember, we're looking at this 35, like if it's dollars, so add the decimal at the end. So then all we have to do is subtract it. So 10 minus 6, well, let's do this. This is 4. So 10 minus 6 is 4. 9 minus 2 is 7. At your decimal. 4 minus 8 can't do it, so borrow. So 14 minus 8 is 6. So that means that the shaded region is 6 and 7,400 square units. And that's how we find the shaded region. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and find the area of the rectangle, which is the whole thing. It's the whole thing. And then we're going to find the area of the triangle, which is just the unshaded region. So that's the reason we have to do the whole thing first and then just subtract what's inside. So let's go ahead and do that. So area of a rectangle is base times height. So that's going to be 12 times 4. So area will equal to 48. Okay. Now, we have the base of the triangle. We have the base. What would be the height? 4. Because if you look at that, that would be the height, which is the same as that. Okay, so it's going to be 4. So now, to do the triangle, we do A equals half of the base and the height. So we do half of 9 times 4. 9 times 4 is 36, and half of 36 is 18. Okay, so now that we know the area of the rectangle and the area of the triangle, we're going to go ahead and do what? Subtract it. So 48 minus 18 gives you 30. So that means this shaded part, the area is going to be 30. And that is going to be 30 square centimeters. So according to the information, 7 feet high is the door. 8 feet wide is the width of the door. So they gave you that information, and that's something that we're not going to paint. Now, when they do tell you that they're going to paint something, you could actually go ahead and just paint what you need to find out. Because that way you know that that's the shaded region, and that's what they want to know on this area. Okay, so now we need to find the area of the shapes. Now, what do you notice about this shape? Is it only one shape? No, it's how many?
There's 6. 3.
There's 3 shapes.
Oh my God.
Okay, so 3 shapes. So let's go ahead and do the one we always know first, the easiest one, which is the rectangle. Okay, so let's do area is equals base and height. Okay, the area of the rectangle is what? What are the 2 dimensions? 12 and 8. So 12 times 8 is? 96. Okay, now we're going to go ahead and find the area of the door, the garage door.
8 times 7.
So A equals base times height. A equals 8 times 7. And 8 times 7 is 56. Okay, so are we done? No. What else do we need? The triangle. So the triangle, we need to do A equals half of base and half of height. So what's my base? 12. The base is 12. Okay, what's the height?
3.
3. So 12 times 3. So what's half of 12?
6.
6 and times 3?
That's 18.
18. So now that we have all the shapes figured out, what do we need to do first before we do the subtracting? What do we have to do first? You have to add first, because you're going to add the triangle and the rectangle. Okay, you need to do those first, because that represents this part and this part. Okay, so we're going to add 96 plus 18. Plus 18. So that's 114. And 114, we're going to add 56.
Subtract.
We're going to subtract it, because that's the door that we're not painting. So in this case, 4 minus 6 we can't do, so we're going to borrow from the one next to it. So 14 minus 6 is 8. 0 minus 5 can't do it, so I'm going to borrow from that one. So 10 minus 5 is 5. So that means they're going to need 558 square feet in order to paint the front of the garage. Okay, so I'm going to give you an exit ticket.
Oh my God.
Please read carefully, because it gives you some information there. Remember, we are doing the shaded part. We only want the shaded part. In this case, if you look at that picture, nothing shaded. So that means you need to shade, you actually need to shade it in. So I'm going to give you that. And then after the exit ticket, you're going to work on this assignment. It's only 3 questions. Stop complaining.
That's still a lot.
It's only 3 of them. You guys been doing this. You only turn in what you complete today. There is no homework for the weekend.
Yes.
So make sure that you're doing all of it, or trying to do all of it. But remember, do the exit ticket first.